I gave different options to everybody for sure, you know. All right, let's do this.
Okay, we are now on the YouTube channels. It is starting to pop up. I have fans who will come in anyway, so that's kind of fine. Hello, welcome to In Between the Pages with James Lott Jr.
I gave different options to everybody.
Oh, that's sure. There you go. That's the thing there. This is live, kids. This is how we do. You know, I'm very real on this channel. I'm James Lott Jr. Welcome to the channel today. I bring you somebody who wrote a best-selling book series, not just one book, but 6 of them. I'm on one of them, the first one, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you guys come on in. The chat room is open. We have a live chat. It is open. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, don't tell me. No, go ahead and in the chat room, go ahead and say hello and tell me what's going on. And listen, we have some stuff to talk about. So I want to introduce her first. She wrote her chapter. It's called Follow Your Dreams with Powerful Intentions. Help me welcome Dr. Fariba Kalantari. Hello, doctor.
Hello there.
Welcome. And he's the mastermind why we're here. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. 6, well, I have 3 books with him separately. He has a book he had separately, and now he has 6 of these. And he's also featured in another, but he's all kind of books. But this series, you can overcome anything. It's a different theme each book. And this theme for volume 6 is When You Believe. Like that song by Mariah Carey and the late Whitney Houston. It's a great book. It's inspirational, it's organizational, it's uplifting, and also these people share their stories. We're going to find out well how this book came about, the series came about, and the stories. But he is why we were here, Mr. Caesar. You've seen him on JLJ Media, Mr. Caesar R. Espino. Hello, Caesar.
Hello, James. Hello, Fariba. How are you guys? I'm excited to be here. Definitely always a pleasure to be in your presence, man.
You know, it is a pleasure. No, welcome to the show again, as always. And, you know, folks, of course, like, subscribe, comment, all that usual stuff. Hit that little thumbs up down there. If you like something that we're saying, please do. But now we're going to talk about this book. So, Caesar, 6 volumes. Congratulations. All bestsellers on Amazon, everything in different countries, different genres. What is one thing that you have learned about yourself doing this whole 6 volumes of this book?
Man, you know, I got to tell you, every time we come up with a new book, there's a different dynamic. There's, you know, I always get excited when we're down to the last minute, like we're working on talking about a book, and then I'm looking at the charts. Are we hitting #1 bestseller in the US, and how many categories, and what other regions are we hitting? And every time that I get to that, you would think, well, I've already been through that a couple of times, so why is it a big deal? And to me, it is. It's like every time is something new, something bigger. So I think one of the biggest lessons that I think I can take from all of this is that no matter how many times you do something, it really comes down to that passion, and it comes down to what is that doing for you on the ultimate aspect of your life. What is that bringing to you, right? It's like that saying, if you're going to work every day, yet you don't enjoy going to work, then why are you going to work, right? You got to be able to enjoy the things that you're doing. And so it's that passion, the ability to impact people. As you know, this book series, when I created this, was the idea to bring all kinds of stories, different people, different backgrounds. Fariba's story in this book was huge. I was telling her when I first read it, I was like, wow, it's amazing, right? And so when you take those components, I do believe that 3 things are going to happen after somebody reads, you know, the book or the chapters. Number 1, people are going to walk away with the idea of, you know what, I got inspired. I felt I was being motivated, and then I was empowered to also think that I can overcome anything in my life, right? And so for me, it's always a learning experience. And the biggest thing is the fact that I take away every time the sense of gratitude that we are impacting people's lives. We are changing people's lives. We are helping people in many different aspects. And I think that specifically right now, with everything going on with all this BS, I do believe we need, you know, a little bit of that. You need some faith and hope and certainty in many different aspects.
Yeah, no, this book, I've noticed, you know, in all the different series, we had several interviews on several of the book series. Also, you got people together. You actually got people together to share their stories. And that's something I think is the most relatable part about this series, is that when people actually read something from someone else, they go, oh, I maybe not went through the exact same thing, I went through something similar. Or I went through the exact same thing. I know what it feels like. It makes it more relatable, because you can say to people, you can overcome anything. Okay,
right.
What does that mean? They don't mean anything. It's just words. But actually, you have a story. Everyone has a story. This is why we do this for 7 years. Everybody has a story. So I think that's one thing one thing from your books I was like, that's a good thing. We're sharing the stories. Okay, Dr. Fariba, I want to ask you, how'd you beat Caesar and get involved in this book?
Well, I believe, again, if anything you do is with powerful intention and this universe makes it present in front of you. So meeting Caesar was absolutely amazing. I think like-minded people somehow find each other. And I've been thinking about, throughout the years, I've been practicing for 30 years, and every part of my life, it's been stories, little stories I tell patients and all that. And they always say, why don't you write this? Why don't you write this? And everybody has been waiting for a chapter, for a book. And when I met Caesar, it was just that spark finally went on. And I said, wow, is it possible we're going to finally do this? And you mentioned it, James, it's so true. Everyone has a story. And it's through these stories that, my whole life was inspired by stories of others. Every day we are there to make a difference. And this was an opportunity that it was at the right place at the right time in my life. And, for anyone who ever wants to even remotely think about writing a book, I think Caesar makes the whole process so smooth, so easy. So I 100% will say, just go with him, just connect with him. Because he really makes that, finally, he brought it to fruition for me. I mean, this was just a chapter. We haven't even, started with the bigger things yet with Caesar, which we are going to soon. But it was just finally, an opportunity for me to tell the story. And yes, if I was by myself, I would say, who wants to read the story? But if it made a difference for one person, I think we made an impact. So.
Yes, and I'm going to introduce the person that just came on in a second. Hello, but I just want to piggyback with that real quick, saying yes. I think in many of our cultures, we grew up with story. As you grow up, grandparents, uncles, aunties, parents, they all tell you stories that inform your life. We need to transfer that into like the larger picture, because that's how you relate. And so I like you said, like we're used to stories, and I have a lot of stories that help shape who I am today from my family and from family friends. So I think that's why we do this. That's why I do this, to share people's stories to the world. I like that.
And if I may add something to that really quickly, and then we'll go to Megan. Sorry, going back to that, sharing the stories, and I think part of the impact is the fact that we're talking about real life stories. And so again, a lot of people may be looking at something, looking at this podcast or this show, or reading a book, and they say, I'm looking for that one story that I can relate to, so that I know what to do now in my own life. And that's exactly what we're bringing. We're bringing those real life stories where, again, you look at some of the elements, and I always go with this phrase, whether it's going to be a chapter, whether it's going to be a paragraph, whether it's going to be a sentence, or whether it's going to be just a phrase, something's going to resonate with you, and you're going to take that and it's going to make an impact in your life.
Yes. She wrote, today's pain is tomorrow's power. Help me welcome Megan Butcher. Hello, Miss Megan.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, you're perfect. Okay. Perfect. You're well lit. I can hear you. That's two things you care about. Yes. You're well, so welcome. So now I'll just go on to Megan. You just came on, girl. How did you get involved in this book?
So actually there's a conference by Marshall Silver, and that's how I met both these fellow folks, Caesar and Fariba, right?
Yeah.
I always get it mistaken. But anyways, and so through that's how I met Caesar. That's how I got involved in this collaboration book. So I'm very happy to participate and to share my chapter with everybody. And mine, it has elements of personal story, but also just things that I often quotes I often use myself, or ways of thinking that help with my interpersonal relationships with folks, or to get through different, troubling times. And so my title is actually kind of a carry on of the main theme of the book. So you can overcome anything. And then when you believe that tomorrow's pain is, today's pain is tomorrow's power. And so I made it almost like a whole sentence.
I like that. That's very smart. No, with your chapter, I always believe that when we go through stuff, of course, it can be fuel for the future or something positive. I say out of tragedy, out of hurt and pain, beauty can be born. I always say that. And I think
Exactly.
it's during tough times, great things come out.
Right.
We get great art, great music, great politics, everything, just stuff comes out of it in times where it's kind of dark. So I like that because nothing's forever. I mean, it's like it's a moment in
Yeah.
time. It's a moment in time. You know?
Exactly. And I start off in the first chapter just talking, or just the first paragraph talking about how the phrase that is like, this too shall pass is a great phrase to say, okay, this pain won't stay forever, but it's also those good times also won't last. So just really cherishing every moment. And I built it into a theme of using Cinderella and her story of like her struggle, right? And she was mainly just looking for her own freedom, and then she found love along the way and things like that as well. And it, you know, turned out abundantly better than she probably could have predicted because of the character that she built along the way. And so there's this call back to that in every paragraph.
Yeah. And Doctor, yours is follow your dreams with powerful intentions. How'd you choose that to be your topic?
Well, because I'm a true believer of that. And I see that almost every single day, that when you trust that intuition, when you trust in believing on your purpose, pretty much everything is doable. And I mean anything. So I touch upon a little, just part of the chapter that I wrote is, yes, of course, it's the story about our struggles and the whole revolution and what have you that had happened back in Iran. But mostly is even something as you have turned every stone, you have looked at everywhere for resources, and miracles still can happen to make that last bit. Again, by not giving everything away from the chapter, but the part that there's a part in it that I will share with you. And that is that I was struggling to just find, $2,000, $2,860 to be exact. And I had gone through all my resources to be able to just move on to register for my course so I can just finish my studies finally. And, all the resources were gone. And in the morning I wake up and my dad has won the lottery and his payoff is exactly $2,860. So miracles do happen. So, and that's what I teach to my son. And when I ask him, now he's 20 something years old, I said, when you were growing up, what was the most important thing that you remember from our relationship? He says that you always said, there's always a solution. Don't ever give up. There's always a solution. And that's what I try to tell my, I do a lot of mentorship to young girls and young students. And you're right when you think that it's all done and, you've tried it all, just don't give up. Just, there's always a solution, and put that intention out there. Be true to your intentions. So.
Yeah, that's true. There's somebody in the chat room, so I'll let Caesar answer this. Do you have videos corresponding to the stories in the book? Videos of what? Videos of their lives? I don't.
Well, I'm sure that's what they're thinking about, and the answer to that is no. Yet the best way to do is pick up a copy of this book and read the chapters for sure.
Unless you mean something. Unless you mean like, is there a video? Like, do they talk or do they tell? Sorry, I'm just thinking this is their lives. Just about their lives. There's no video thing.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe in the future.
And one of those things when you actually document, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So reenactment.
I'd say if you want to have a live experience, the three of us are very much involved in like attending the Marshall Silver courses and things like that. So there's times where you can actually meet us, in person.
Right.
So that's even better than a video.
That's crazy. So now, Caesar, your section is Believe and Live. You're towards the end, of course, because you're the leader of this. So talk about why, because you've been writing all these. So every book you have a chapter, obviously, in, and you wrote the book of this. How did you come up with that chapter?
Yeah, it's interesting. I get it every time I'm writing something and I'm trying to come up with a new topic or a new subtitle of a book, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, the next book, we're already working on the next book, and I was thinking about that, and it's like, well, what's going to be this volume 7? And volume 7 is you can overcome anything with love, right? And so I always come up with some ideas. And so when I came up with the idea of believe, I said, well, that might be something good for my own chapter, just to be able to really, when you have that belief, right? And when you're living whatever you're living in your day-to-day life, for you to be able to move forward, right? You have to have a belief. You have to have a thought in place to be able to overcome those challenges, right? So if you give an example, if I want to be this amazing book author, which by the way I am, just saying, I have to believe that, right? I have to step into that space. I have to be able to put out more information. I got to be able to do more within that to be able to believe that. If I want to be a great mom, a great dad, a great whatever, you have to believe in that on every moment. And the most important thing is you got to believe it, right? I believe a lot of times, it is sometimes you have to have somebody else's belief in you before you can believe in yourself to be able to get ahead. Yet again, that's what you need to be able to get ahead, right? The hardest thing that we can go through is not having that belief that we too can make it, that we too can do something great or whatever that might be, right? And so that's where I came up with that, because I did see the last couple of years, every time I write a chapter, I look back and I reflect on things that are happening in my life. And in this case, I was talking about things that happened to me last year, being smuggled, being robbed, being all these things that I went through, a very challenging time for me. Yet I believe that at the end of the day, there's something bigger and greater for me. And that's where that came from.
So next one's called With Love. So that's number 7.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that. But Sophie, how did you, actually, I know it's in the chat room. Yes, documents. I don't think Texas Ranger fan is the person's name. I'm going to assume maybe thinking like, are you going to document these stories on video? Like sometimes people telling their story on video. That's interesting. So that's something. Maybe that's what they're thinking. So I don't know. Maybe that's something in the future. Maybe you'll do that.
Right.
Read an excerpt or something.
Yeah, or something possibly. I'm thinking, am I in the right direction out there? I mean, because I know that sometimes they do that sometimes. Well, usually it's an audio version first, and then sometimes it's video. But
well, I am more looking at getting this book and all the other books on audio, because right now they're not available on audio. They're obviously ebook and paperback, and eventually we're going to be going into audio, and we're also looking of possibly going to even hardcover, since that's now available too. I do tell you this much, though. Sometimes I have thought about the idea of bringing some of the stories into a live. I mean, I talked to a few people, and the ideas are there, right? Of being able to take some of the stories that are amazing, and putting them into a mini series or a movie kind of thing. That is something that I've talked about or thought about before. Obviously, hopefully it happens. We'll see.
Well, the thing is, this whole you can overcome anything it could go into anything.
Right.
It can literally go into a series. It can be into an interview series with other people. It can morph in all kinds of stuff. That's what's so great about
you know what, and I might be speaking out of term here, except I might put something in your head. We have Megan, we have Fariba, we have great stories, not only in this book, in some of the other ones. I mean, I do have some resources called JLL Media, where we can probably do some
JLJ Media,
voice.
that's my media.
Yeah, with that one, voice acting. We can do some voice acting, and maybe take some of those stories. I mean, I'm just putting that out there.
It's all no, seriously. It's all kinds of I'm all about service. That's why I have this channel. It's all not just for entertainment. I do entertain, but I'm here also about service, because that's very important in the whole world. We have a whole world. They say in chatting, yes, that we want to bring words to life, and so yes, that is something that this is could be a multimedia empire of this. But first, the books. It all starts with the writing. Everything starts with writing. As they say in Broadway, right on the page, there on the stage, it's always about the writing first. So we're starting there, and then we'll move it around. So Megan, what do you do for a living? Because I don't know what you do for a living.
Yeah, so I'm a senior manager in privacy and records management. It falls under compliance. Yes. So I deal with a lot of kind of legal associated matters. And basically protecting customer information for a off-brand retailer, which is TJX. So your TJ Maxx, your Home Goods, your HomeSense, basically where you shop.
I know all about
So
ransomware. I know about ransomware and all that. I know about
Marshall. Yeah. And so, teaching people at the store level, distribution centers, and our home offices how to protect your information and how to protect the company information. So it's pretty important. We're all there. And so I do talk about some of that, having your legal security in place, just from a personal standpoint too. And so a lot of what I do when I do training and awareness at work is I try to link that with what you do in your home life, your home environment, because you use technology at home, and how can you better protect yourself? You're probably going to apply those same skills and knowledge to the work environment or to your home work environment, because everyone's working from home too. So I like bridging those kinds of connections, having people, have a clear takeaway message at the end of whatever they read from me, or whatever, if I do speaking engagements too. So
yeah. And Dr. Friba, you're a doctor of what? Of whom? Of what? Of where?
Great.
Why?
I'm a dentist as a profession.
I see those beautiful teeth. I see them now. Now I see it. Like, hello. There we go. Okay, I see it. Okay, dentistry.
And in Hollywood, so not too far from here.
Yeah. So yeah. I see it.
I'm right in the heart of Hollywood, California, and I wasn't always in Hollywood. I used to practice. I went to school in New York. I'm actually going back for my 30-year reunion. I can't believe it's been 30 years.
It goes by fast.
Yes. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. And as a matter of fact, I was telling Caesar, it's amazing all these things happen at the same time, because a few friends that I had, most of my friends that I shared from college days, and they've seen me in those days, and they know about my story now. When they read the book, even some of them, they didn't know all these stories, which this is just one of the stories.
Right.
And some of them were in tears. Some of them were so happy and proud, and they already got the books. They can't wait for me to sign it for them when I see them. And then it gave me another idea that I shared with Caesar, that I am actually going to, everyone who's purchasing the book from me, we're putting that towards a scholarship fund for the school, for those that had similar stories as when I did, when I was struggling. So it's just heartwarming. It's not just telling a story, but it's really putting a bigger impact. And it's just, it's a ripple effect after this. And it's just amazing. The response has been great. But I really enjoy what I do. I love dentistry, but I think I always look at this platform as just a platform for me to meet so many people and have a healing, not just their smile and self-confidence and what have you. And I've met some amazing people, not only here, but really globally, internationally almost. But it's a platform to really touch upon people's souls and hear their stories. I always have time to hear stories and share my stories. So
yeah, I like that. I like that. And there are people like going through what you're going through right now out there in the world, what you went through. Very volatile world out there. So yes, they are going through what you went through. So it's be a nice. We need to put more hope out there. I feel like there's enough of the negativity being thrown out there, and whether it's real or whatever, it's out there. We got to counter it with something. I mean, we got to sprinkle something in there. Like, there's some hope. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's good. So now, Megan, anybody react to your? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ask Megan, and then I'm gonna tell you something.
Okay. Well, Megan, will ask you reaction. Anybody reaction to your story in the book? Because she just brought up a good point. Reactions.
Yeah. So I have new team members. So they're like, I read it. It's amazing. And they're quoting it to me. And my managers too, they're like, you're in a book?
That's so funny.
I just started at this new company too. So I relocated across from California all the way to the East Coast in Boston area. So they're like, when did you have time to do this?
You had time.
Literally, yeah, it was a pretty hectic time, but it was well worth the effort. And I share with Friba, it's really a great way to network and meet so many different people. And I meet people globally now because it's a global company. So I'm like, I'm in this book. And they're like, what? but they get to get an idea of who I am too and the character that I bring. And also I know several of the other, probably over half the other authors that are part of the book. Okay. And they just have such amazing stories. And I wish we could maybe go through some of their bios too in this. But one of the authors that I got to meet through writing, you know, and she is like she helps single mothers with raising their you know, kids to be strong men and women. And it's just really inspiring to how many people that have collaborated on this book, how they're impacting the world.
Freema, go ahead. You got to say your doctor. You have something to say?
Oh, I just, you know, when you said about the hope, and this is a time for hope and what have you, I just pulled out from the drawer because this is still in the drawer and I'll share with you. There's a poster that literally saved my life and it was from a friend. And I wasn't kidding when I said to this day, I still have it and I've shared it with so many people. So I want to just show it to you.
Yeah, please. I love it.
Like wrinkled and.
Don't quit. Oh yes. Oh yes. You can see it's all you had it for a while. You've had it for a while. You can see it.
Yeah. For 33 years. This has been with me 33 years. And I connected with
frame it.
I was going to say, you can frame it in the back of your office. You know, have it up there.
You can preserve it so nothing happens to it. Like, yes.
Yes, for sure. This
shows the power of words well after you write something too, because here's somebody who wrote this, made this post, somebody made it into a poster because it made such an impact on them. And then your friend gave it to you. And it's just like, it passed so many hands to even get to you that it's like a miracle that it got to you right when you needed it, right? And that's what I think about the messages in this book too, is that they live on and they have impact far beyond what we thought, you know, at the moment.
Yes, some of the other authors are Jonathan Ellis, Christina Cragg, Nigel Howard, Jadon Eldridge, if I said your name correctly, Judy Sweeney, Aaron Clements, Chef Latoya Larkin, Lisa Manzo, who I know, Carmen Vertucci, who I know, and of course Cesar R. Espino, and you guys. So yes, some of these, she was great. Some of the other authors don't know their story. I don't know what they do, but there are other authors in the book. He always gets good collections of people for books. He always gets good collections. There's a question for you, Cesar. I want you to answer, Cesar. Are there celebrity stories in the book? We have a special guest who's on the book.
We do. We actually have on one of, not in this particular book, in volume 3. Volume 3. Oh, because it's green. Volume 3. There's actually Marshall Silver, which Megan mentioned. He is a celebrity person. Definitely, there's an amazing story there. So if you go back to volume 3. Is chapter number 1. You can definitely see his story. And, again, I would definitely welcome anybody that's listening to this that might want to go and see Marshall Silver live for 2.5 days. You're more than welcome to come in, just get connected with James, and he'll let me know. Nevertheless, he is a celebrity and has, been bringing a lot of value. And again, has also impacted a lot of people that have been in the book series, in this series of bestseller. Yeah.
Yes. And me, girlfriend. Yeah. I am a celebrity. I won the award.
How could I forget? We got to give it up. James just won an award that's almost close to like the Grammys last week or this week. I forget now.
It was last week, and I won the Independent Series Award for a show that I produced and was in. And it's the next thing next to the Emmys, so it's like right below the Emmys. So I'm like, I created this thing, this genre, helped create a genre, and then we got recognized for the first, and then it's kind of a big deal. It's
fantastic.
It's not kind of, it is a big deal.
Yes, I know.
It's a huge deal. Round of applause.
It goes to what you guys are saying. I come from nothing. I started from scratch. I started late in life. I believe it or not, I'll be 53 years old next month. I'm a grandfather of 4. I started late in life in this part of the business in my 40s, and I started from scratch there too, and literally overcame a lot of stuff to get there, and I overcame stuff to get here. So it's kind of like the same theme. It's just that it's just, if I can do it, if they can do it, if he can do it, anybody can do it. And that's just what I'm trying to show people, that I have a very strong drive. And so I try new things all the time, and I don't say no to very much. And you just never see where it's going to go. You start something, like you said, for them, networking, communicating, mix. You just never know. But if it doesn't hurt you, I say try it out, and then you might get awards. Who knows? It's my second award ever in this business, so I'm like because we tried something that was different to service the people. Literally, that's literally what it was. So I feel good about it. It feels weird. I'm still kind of weird, but
Yeah.
it's I've been in this. Hollywood's a huge business. It's a huge business. So to get recognized, I beat actual celebrities to win this award. So like it's kind of like this weird, like, oh, so what I do has value to somebody. Okay. So
and I just want to add to that, I go back to that, and Megan touched on that, Fariva touched on that too. Like, again, you look at somebody wrote something a long time ago, and what it's doing is not only are we impacting, in my opinion, people outside of this here, we're also connecting people within here, right? We meet a lot of great people. Again, I met James a couple of years back, and from there we've done so many different things. He was on my volume 1, which is actually really good book too, and really good story. Starting over at age 40, right here. That's his chapter. Starting over at age 40, because again, a lot of times people think, well, am I too old? Am I too young? Can I do this again? Right? If you look at James' story, literally he literally left his whole life and went across California, I won't say across the country, across California, to come to LA and start all over again. Yet he just won an award last week or this weekend. And again, going back to all of that, it's huge. And again, you're meeting with so many different people, and you just never know the people that you're surrounding with that are gonna help you do something later on. James and I have produced numerous songs. He is my producer for, I don't have the nice voice yet. We're going to be producing a CD pretty soon. I have probably already 7 or 10 different songs that he's helped me produce. We've done so many different things. And again, you just never know who you're connecting with. And it is through these connections, right, that you find that.
Yes, and you guys met through Marshall Silvers. I've heard him before. I've heard him, of course, before. I've never met him, but I know who he is. But so it's like you never know when you venture out and try something, how long lasting it'll be or what it means, even in the moment. Sometimes things are for the moment to get you to the next step. And sometimes there are people will be with you for a long time. So it depends. I met Caesar, I feel like I've known you forever. It was like 3 years ago. It was like before the pandemic I met you.
Yeah.
But it feels like forever. It's like we've done so many things together. But it's just one of those things, you just never know who's going to come into your life and literally help change and inform your life. You just don't know.
Yes. I also wanted to say there's some other people that might, they're celebrities in their own right that are part of the different book series. I know there's the Schlag brothers, Aaron and
Schlag brothers. Yeah. Schlag.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andrew and Aaron, and they're both they just stumbled into like real estate, and now they're millionaires, and they're teaching other people how to do real estate and become millionaires in their own right. And they know like a dozen different people that you would be shocked to meet. And Aaron Clements, he's like almost like a gypsy rock star. Like he was constantly traveling like 90% of the year. And but he has a following mainly in the Midwest, I think. But like, he's like, he does rock music and stuff like that. And just there's some really brilliant people that are part of this series, and they're sharing their stories. So you can definitely find somebody that you can relate with, and or somebody that is in a different industry, but you can relate with their story.
Well, see, also this book series is great. It's representation. Representation matters. So he features many cultures, genders, orientations, everything. And like Dr. Fariba would say, there's a lot of Iranians in Los Angeles. There are a lot here, here. So you get to tell a story that maybe some of them also had the same story, or the younger generation doesn't know. You're actually sharing it with them. Like don't forget where we come from, so to speak, kind of thing. That this is where we can also overcome anything, right, Doctor?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, you said it perfectly, James. A lot of times, especially with our culture, we try to put on a social mask and just pretend everything is okay. and I come from this background, but it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say that you're facing difficulties. It's okay to share those stories, because someone next to you may be having the same, story with you. And again, you're inspired and you hold each other's hand and you help each other throughout this. And I've met my most amazing people by just being open and vulnerable and sharing story. Is it always right? 99%. You follow those 99%.
No, it's true. There's something said about the authenticity. That is something people do like that. I mean, we're not talk about it enough. It likes to be, I'm being real, I'm fake, I'm phony, whatever. I gotta shine on I gotta filter, all that kind of stuff. That's all cute and all, but people do want, I think nowadays, really want authentic people. I want to know the down and dirty, in the guts stuff that you went through, because I'm going through it too. Or maybe it's something different, but people feel like they're alone a lot of times. And literally you're not. And we say it, we're not. But you think you are. You think you're the only person in the world going through this one thing. You're not. Really, you're not. There are others. And so with these books, we're actually saying, here are some of the others. You are not alone. Take a read. Pick a story. Again, you don't have to go in order. Just pick a story and then start reading it. And you might relate to it in ways, even the stories where it's not similar, you still may relate to it in a way that they may say something. You go, that's it right there. Or, as always, do the bell. They'll say something, that bell moment happens. You know what I mean? It's like you'll read another story and go, I didn't go through that, but what she just said still touched me. So I think I said representation matters, folks. I mean, everybody has a story. I keep going back to that, but that's just kind of, we got to hear other people's stuff. Also,
I think it has a way of humbling us too. When you hear someone struggle, is it makes whatever you're going through maybe not so bad. Yes. Like, oh, it could be a lot worse. So I really, my first introduction to the series was chapter 3, and the first chapter, just like, whoa, okay, I guess life could really be awful and in the gutter. And that, what I'm referring to is Marshall Silver's story. There you go, right. So there you go. Right. His wife cheating on him, somebody, taking money, and like, people showing up at his door to arrest him for things he didn't do. Just like all kinds of stuff all at the same time. And you're like, how? But yeah, it really helps you sober up to really appreciate life. Including Caesar has many stories too. I mean, humble beginnings and how you can overcome that to become accomplished and to just do whatever it is that you want to do. You just have to find a way to overcome the challenges, instead of looking at it as like a wall you can't overcome. You can definitely climb that wall.
I always laugh about Caesar because I met him. We had a mutual person we knew, and I don't talk to that person anymore. So I kept Caesar. I don't know. I mean, it was just like we met through somebody else, and we both were friends with that person. And I had a falling out with that person, but Caesar and I stayed, and we actually had a lot in common. Plus, we don't live far from each other, so we actually live near each other. So that kind of helped. I guess helped also. Proximity helped too. But it's just funny. Again, you just don't know who you're going to meet and what their story may touch your story. And I read his book, the first book he wrote, and I loved it. I had him on this show, which is celebrating 4 years this year. I've had him on this show about his first book because I actually liked it, and that's what started this whole process. Really, you can overcome anything. The original book is what started us. There it is. That's what started this whole process of me and Caesar and why you guys are even here today. So yeah, Caesar got stories too. Caesar got stories. He knows what's going on. He got stories.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. When we're talking about authenticity and we're talking about being real and again the different cultures and things like that, one thing that I want people to take away too is that it's not just the people here in the U.S. Obviously, I migrated to the States, just like Fariba and some of the other people that have been in the book. There's also people that were born here, except again, this book series, we have a pretty good representation. We have people that are living in Canada, Canadian people that have talked about their stories, people in Mexico, people in Australia. And so again, when you look at those stories, it's not just things that are per se happening here in the US. There are things that are happening in other regions across the world. And so again, this book series has been in multiple different regions, and I think it was volume 5 or 4, if I forget now. We had so much great feedback from people in Australia that again we were impacting that. And to me that's huge. To me that's amazing, because again I go back to that idea. It's like you're talking about what was your challenge, whatever that might have been, right? Then you talked about going through that challenge, whether it was abuse, whether it was, being able to have that dream and make it happen, whether it was migrating to a new country, whether it was, I lost everything, now I got to figure out how to do that, or I started over at 40. How did I do that? Whatever that story might have been, that challenge, then you take that and now you look at how did I go about transforming that transformation of being able to say, you know what, I could to overcome that. And then the last element of that is, where am I now? Because I think that is, to me, those are 3 different elements. Where am I now that I've took all of this, and where am I heading? Because that's what people want. That's what people need. I do get it that, violence and drugs and sex sells. Yet again, though, sometimes people need hope, and they need that certainty, and they need that ability to say, you know what, I too can overcome, because I'm in a very shitty place right now. Excuse the language, I'm being authentic though. Yet I need to be able to step out of that and say, you know what, I'm here for a reason. Because if you're reading this, if you're listening to this, there's a reason for that. Whether it's God or the universe, whatever you believe in, there's something that is saying, you know what, I'm here for a reason. So let me figure that out, and let me impact my life first, and then somebody else's life. I think I'm preaching now, by the way.
I like it. 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 It's all about, again, being who you are and sharing those others. I think that's the least we can do. I always feel like that's the least. I remember when I was 24 years old and I moved to San Francisco for the first time, and one of my friends said to me, "It's good you're having fun," and I was partying and having a good time. But she said, "So what are you going to do for your community?" At first I was like, "What does that mean? What are you talking about? What does that mean?" But I got she, it was shortly there, like maybe 6 months later, after I partied to death, I finally got what she meant. She's like, "Now you're living in this city that you say you're claiming to love and happy to be here, and you're able-bodied, and you have things you can offer. What are you going to do to kind of support your city and your community?" And I was like, "Oh, now I get it." And so I've always volunteered at places. I've always given back. But but there's something about this, like this series, what you guys are talking about, it's kind of like this, we're not alone. And I want people to realize we're not alone. So the very least some of us can do, if you know how to write something, at least give back and write it back out, so people can read it and absorb it, and hopefully maybe, feel less alone and overcome whatever they're overcoming. So I just want to say that. Or you can overcome anything. Book 6. Where can you get all the books, Caesar? Tell them where to get all the books.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can just go to Amazon and just type in any of the authors' names or the book series. You can overcome anything, and you can find them there. Or you can also go to my website, CesarRespino.com, and then you can find all of that there.
And Dr. Frida, where can they find your practice if they want to join with some healthy teeth?
Oh, awesome. I'm right in the heart of Hollywood in California. I have a website, hollywooddentalcare.com. You can get all the information from there. But if you want the address, I'm 6464 West Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood.
I know what that is.
Yeah, I totally know. You know that, I don't know, James, if you know that I used to be chair of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. So I hope to see you one day with your.
Oh, you'll see me, girl. You'll see me. See, now that we've done this, chances are we probably know the same people. Probably gonna run into. That's how that works. I'm sure we do. But and then for you, Miss Megan, if they want to hire you for speaking engagements, how can
you can. Right. My Gmail is Megan Butcher, like butchershop05@gmail.com. So if you have anything, I'm on LinkedIn as well. It's usually where people find me.
Okay, that's good. Everybody in the chat room, thanks for coming in. Kirsten, hello. Thanks for coming in, you guys, and listening to us. They like this, and absolutely, this is something that you should be doing. Passing on, sharing knowledge, lifting each other up through story. I think that's an old-fashioned thing that never gets old, never ever. And so, Caesar, I'm gonna let you get a chance to promote yourself, just the books, but now for you, if they want to bring you on for anything, where should they go for that?
Yeah, definitely. The best way is to either find me on any social media handle under Cesar R. Espino, or my website, CesarRespino.com.
Yeah, Cesar Espino's not him. So it's Cesar R. Espino.
Yeah, there's a Cesar Espino. So don't make sure you put the middle initials. Cesar R. Espino. Yes.
He look nothing like him either. So he don't look like you. No.
Yeah. So any TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, any platform, Snapchat.
Yep. I know. I'm James Lott Jr. Of course, you can follow me where all James Lott Juniors are at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms, including TikTok. I'm a TikTok star there, apparently. But also I'm on LinkedIn and everything else, of course. JLJ Media is everywhere you want to be, of course. And this show, like I said, almost 4 years old, is on every streaming service platform you can think of, from iHeartRadio to Google to Spotify and everything. And also on my online network, JLJ Media, here on YouTube. Check it out. Get this book. Go to Amazon. You don't have to run. You can just go on your tablet, phone, anything, and get it. And read their stories. That's what you got to do here. I'm James Lott Jr.